Good evening and welcome to the Orville Rewatch podcast or Watch podcast, depending on who you are and how long you've been with the series. But either way, we're looking today at season 2, episode 7, Deflectors, which was from 2019. This is I want to say it's a bit of a slower episode, except for the first 10 minutes. And then it kind of gets slow, but it's more for the dramatics than anything else, really. And it's an interesting way to look into relationships as well as some of the characters and how we perceive them on the ship. But, I can't do this alone, guys. And if I could do this alone, well, let's be honest, no one would watch. So without further ado, let's get our panelists going here. We have, of course, the man, the myth, the mustache. That is, of course, Kevin Millard.
Hello. It's quite the introduction.
There you go. All right. But you know what? You know what makes this all possible? That is, of course, our extraordinary producer, the man, not the myth, but he could be one day. Of course, that is, of course, Dave Mater.
Thank you, Jody. The world began the day I met you. Just so you know.
I don't know what to say to that.
It means you mean a lot, Jody.
Oh, okay. And of course, rounding off our panel is the ever awesome and the guy who most likely is always late. That, of course, is Mr. Adam Woodward.
Thank you, Jody. I wasn't late tonight. I was waiting for a link, and then it wouldn't work.
Well, that still sounds like late to me.
Likely story.
But anyway, yeah. Maybe you should have your IT people look at that. Yep. Anyway, as I said, we're dealing with season 2, episode 7, Deflectors. Poor Adam. We had to call you out on
Jody, just for the record, I would listen to you if you were alone.
Oh, would you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure why, but okay.
No.
I appreciate that. I'm not totally sure where this is going, but anyway, I'm sure there's some sort of joke in here eventually. Yeah. All right. Man, anyway, I like your shirt, by the way. Now, how do we feel about this episode, guys? Deflectors. I think it's a little bit of a slower episode, but it's interesting, I think.
By slower, I think you mean that it ends on sort of this depressing note.
It ends on a very depressing note. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's a really strong episode. I think that this is would I'd hold this up against almost any Star Trek episode that deals with social issues. Having analogies towards real life challenges of our day, things that were conflicts in our society, and putting that through like a sci-fi lens. And and after I watched this episode, I said, you know what? All the haters of Seth MacFarlane, they can all pound sand. If you're listening right now, go to hell. Because
Davin.
He's not listening. But
no, he's not listening.
But if he is, it's like this is a super amazing episode. And if you can't get behind that as a Star Trek fan, then I don't know what to tell you.
All right, well, that's a very powerful review right there. And of course,
we're done.
That's it. You know what? I think 5 minutes. We're good. So fun facts with Adam. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, Kevin, what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's great. This is a 10 for me. This episode, I absolutely love it.
We're done.
All right.
The name is apt, Deflectors. It could also be called Everyone Deflects Their Shit onto Tala.
Yeah.
Because she gets shit on so much in this episode for just everything that's not her fault.
It's true. It really is true. And I think that was, a twofold type of title. So I think you're right on that. And of course, Adam, what are your thoughts?
I too quite enjoyed it. I was driving home tonight. I was thinking about it, and number one, if it was a Star Trek episode, would the Moclan be admitted into the Federation? I wonder.
I don't think so.
But having said that, the tolerance to accept another species or race goes both ways. So, if you look at the storylines, the only one I really didn't enjoy again was the Cassius Kelly, and that's where Dave got the world began today. Was when one of Cassius Cassius's lines on Kelly.
You know what the best thing about this episode is, Adam?
What's that?
Cassius is gone.
Yeah.
And his shirts.
And his shirt. More importantly, his shirts. His outfit is just absurd.
But you know what? They've done a great job introducing Tala into this cast, and I think this is the third episode with her, and she's great. She's much better than the other one.
She fits in better, I think. Yeah, not to say that the previous was a terrible actress or anything. It's just I don't think she was written right.
Storylines.
Tala's a better character.
Yeah.
Tala is the better character. Yeah,
she's more
Mature.
Mature. Yeah,
Mature
Yeah.
themselves. Sure.
it would have actually. I wouldn't have
Oh,
mind seeing this character as played by the what is it, Haley? I can't remember her name.
Atwell?
Halston Sage.
No, Halston Sage. Yeah.
Halston Stage. That's it. Halston. I always get that name.
Very different ages, but very different energies.
Yeah.
They do have different energies. Yeah, the innocence isn't there with Talia, which I think is pretty nice. So because I think that was part of our problem with that character was the fact that she just was so so innocent and so small and just
Young, uncertain.
and uncertain about everything, no confidence. Yeah, which is kind of hard to have a security officer be the person that would do that.
I think it's the mainly the job she was meant to do didn't fit the character super well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, gentlemen, I think we already know where we're going on this, but why don't we review the episode just in case?
Sure.
All right. So we start off, of course, in basically their version of the holodeck. I could never remember what it's called. Don't care. I said I don't care. Don't correct me, Dave.
I wasn't going to tell you.
All right. I know you were thinking about it.
You're the one stuck on it.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a simulator, but
It's a simulator. There you go. And we're told that this is 1945 New York, which I'm pretty sure is just the backdrop of the studio that they've used millions of times over.
Yes, this set has been used so many times in so many shows and movies.
They changed like marquees and stuff, but past that, it's pretty much the exact same thing. But I think actually even the original series used this.
I'm pretty sure this is where they used to film episodes of Seinfeld too, and like things like.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
This is like the Joan Collins episode. What was that called again?
City on the Edge of Forever.
Yes, that one. Thank you.
So, but basically, we see a newsboy running through, and he's basically saying about how the wars ended, basically. So we know it's just post World War II. And we see Kelly and Cassius, and they're sitting there, and I guess they're in the simulator for, I guess, a date or something. But turns out not really a date. Turns out more like Kelly is breaking up with him. Yeah,
this is the best shirt he's worn, but it's still not great.
Yeah, I looked at this and I went, you know what? I wonder if Dave's going to have a problem with that shirt.
Here's
It's
my
not
problem with
too
this
bad.
one.
There's no turtleneck.
It zips up in the back.
Does it really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's
Like-
weird.
Impractical.
That is totally
Who
impressive.
can do that up if you're single?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why he won't let this relationship go.
Yeah.
That's why he keeps trying to contact her. He's just
Oh.
stuck in that terrible shirt.
He needs to be permanently in a relationship just to get his shirts on.
Dave's onto something here. It has to do with wardrobe.
Yeah.
He probably can't slip into all those turtlenecks that he has too. He's got to be like kind of pulled in.
Every shirt they gave him.
He's a crime against fashion for sure. But anyway, it is what it is. But basically, they talk about Kelly's like, I'm not really too happy about this. They're
They're supposed to go on a vacation, and she
Yeah,
can't get
and
the
she
time
can't
off,
now.
or she
or
won't
she
take the
doesn't
time
want to. Really, is kind of where you get the gist of it, right? But yeah, sorry, Dave. I think I'm delayed because I think I'm cutting you off.
off.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, with Cassius is like, well, I was thinking, we would, eventually get married and stuff. She's like, yeah, I already did that. Yeah, I'm not in a rush to do that anymore. And, we're cool and I don't need to do this. And at this point, he's like, yeah, okay. And
she does make a comment in the conversation about how, his job is not as demanding as hers. And he kind of admits to that, but there's a conflict.
He doesn't like that. The way she says it, and she's just like, well, there is kind of a difference here, like.
But by the end of this conversation, they're pretty much broken up, and it feels like it's also kind of affirmed later in the episode that this has been coming for a while.
I did like that he's going on about her and how she can't give up her career, and she has the self-awareness to be like, oh, I've been on the other side of this conversation.
Yeah, she had the same problem with Mercer, so totally makes sense. And then she kind of gets up and she's like, okay, well, I think we're done here, kind of, basically.
I like the holodeck. Like, she had to walk a really long way to get to the door.
Yeah, it was a long way to
Yeah,
go.
it's like the door shows up in the middle of the street, and it's like way the hell
Across the
down.
street, next block over.
Yeah, it's like, how far did you guys walk from that door? Because that's how they would have came in, so it makes sense. But
The ship is 40% simulator. It's actually quite huge.
it's quite big. She's like, I got to get on the A train so I can get back to the portal. No sleep till Brooklyn. But anyway, so yeah, we get a shot of the Mocklin ships, which I think are kind of cool. They're interesting and kind of boring at the same time, which is kind of interesting.
The Mocklins.
That's what the Mocklins
Yeah,
are about.
which I think suits the Mocklins perfectly. I think it's a better looking ship than the Orville. I don't think the Orville's that great looking to begin with, but
I like the Orville.
Yeah, I don't like the three
The
thrust
fins.
things. But anyway, what can you do? Anyway, we see a shuttle coming from the Mocklins. Even the Mocklin shuttles are kind of brooding, and they look like the front of them looks mad. You know what I mean? Like it's
Wait till you get a look at the planet. It doesn't look any better.
well,
It would look better with a mustache on the front of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would look
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah. So anyway, we see they're getting greeted here, and they're getting greeted by some of the Mocklins, and one of the Mocklins happens to be an engineer, which they're going to be working on the deflector system.
Lokar.
What's his name?
Lokar.
Lokar. So here's Lokar, and turns out Lokar and Bortus know each other. Turns out they were dating at one point. We don't know too much more than that, other than that, but they're very familiar. I'm not totally sure why I got a screenshot of him blinking, but anyway. But basically they let us know that it's going to be they're going to be working on the deflector system, which is their shield system, to increase its capacity, I guess. And at this point, basically, I think somebody says, oh, you know him or something, and then he's like, yes, or whatever. And that's it. That's our cold open. So not only do we get to see, we almost get rid of school teacher, in our cold open, we also get to see the premise of the episode. And then of course the episode's name is Deflectors. Okay. So there you go. At this point we see, what's his name? I already forgot it.
Lokar.
There we go. Almost got it, guys. Lokar, with, the chief engineer there, and they're kind of going over some of the specs, and then at this point I don't remember this. Wait a second.
He says, I'd like to talk.
Oh,
Can we talk more? Like, this is the first time they've been alone together.
And they run in. Yeah, they're still in the, this is still in the no, this would have been in engineering at this point.
Engineering.
Yeah, like basically what's his name, Bortus is being pretty cold towards Lokar.
Yeah, Lokar says, I hope we'll have a chance to talk later. And Bortus is like, no, I'm very busy. I have many duties.
There will be no time to talk.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're left with this impression that Bortus, that this relationship did not end very happily on Bortus's side. And that's all we know, really, for these first
right now. Yeah, for sure. And this is when Talia kind of basically says, yeah, I'm going to be around, I'm part of security. So, whenever you hit a firewall or something, let me know and I'll take care of that. That's about it. And then you kind of get the impression that she's interested in talking to him at least. She takes off and you kind of see him glaze at her. So it's like, there's something weird there. And Mocklin's being a all male species, you would think that he wouldn't be attracted to her, but obviously there's something going on there. And then of course we go to Bortus and his family. They're having, I guess, dinner in this scenario, and I guess his husband there basically says along the lines of like, oh, hey, I see he's here, and he's kind of teasing him in a way. I guess this is how Mocklins tease people. But he's basically like that. And then all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, or a beep on the door, or whatever you want to call it. And it turns out there he is.
Like, Clyden's a pretty likable character.
I actually don't like Clyden at all.
No, I do. And
I do. Okay.
in even into this episode, and then later on we see a side that we don't.
Well, I think that's what's disappointing with him for me too, Adam, because he is likable until he does these awful things, or he has these awful attitudes towards things, and so then he becomes much less likable very quickly.
He's also playing out his own trauma. Again, it's another deflection. His own trauma from being born a woman. He is extra orthodox.
We need to keep
happens quite often.
Yeah, we need to keep count on how many times Kevin says deflection in this episode.
Oh,
I think he's
on to be a lot.
He's on to something here. But basically, he's like, can we talk? And then of course, Clyden kind of jumps in and says, come in for dinner. Basically, so at this point,
it's kind of funny that I had forgotten that this is the episode where Clyden is the villain, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, oh. Like Clyden's kind of fun in this scene because he's kind of just enjoying.
He's just kind of he's getting him on, right? Like he's like, Urgh. But anyway, so we go up to the bridge, and this is where we see that they're about to start the process of testing this new deflector system. And of course, what's her name? Ensign. I have it written down. It doesn't really matter, but anyway, it's the one that is with
Ensign Cupcakes.
Ensign Cupcakes. Actually, from now on, I think we need to refer to her as Ensign Cupcake.
Actually, I feel like maybe we should call Dan Ensign Cupcakes.
No, Dan is Dan, and he will remain Dan.
Dan, like this is one of my favorite, my funnier jokes. Where he's like, "Here's the tractor beam." Like, got this cupcake. Yeah, like,
here's the tractor.
I was like, I love Dan. Dan's the best.
Dan is the best. Dan definitely deserves more screen time. Now the cupcakes actually have Orville's on them, which I think is kind of funny. So at this point, they're about to test the system. And I guess I don't remember this conversation, but
this is the conversation where they're talking to Bortus more about Lokar. Just how was it, with this ex relationship? What, how did it end? What is there any murder involved? I think is also asked by Malloy.
Oh yes, because Gordon's like, he's like, you guys usually end up like trying to kill each other or something, right? And he's like, no. How does this work? And he goes, oh well, we exchange teeth.
We extract a tooth and then we give it to the other.
We give it to the next mate, and he's like and then they eat it, right? And he's like, yes,
yes.
And he's like, I know, I got it.
I'm getting so good at this.
I'm getting so good at this. Yeah.
But wait, you forgot to mention Lokar's reaction to the cupcakes too. That was great.
Oh yeah,
I have given you my answer. That was
but she was great too. Okay.
Okay, then I think that comes after the scene actually, but I could be wrong. But yeah, Gordon basically did, and then we talked to whoever this guy is. I've never caught his name, and I don't care. He seems to be like in charge of their ship.
He's the captain of the other ship. You have the
captain of the other ship. Okay,
Mocklin captain.
Mocklin captain. There you go. Basically saying they're ready for the test, and I guess the test is that the Orville is going to fly around and get shot at by the Mocklins. That's the test.
Right.
There seems to be a better way to do this, but.
It's like a war game thing, and then eventually, like they get hit with that torpedo. We said no torpedoes.
Yeah. I could have swore we said no torpedoes. And
you said no torpedoes.
Yeah. So anyway, they power on this system. It's all good to go. And at this point, this is when Gordon's is instructed to start flying. And of course, Gordon being Gordon, he's being all Mr. Fancy Pants and not getting hit at all. And then Mercer has to say something along the lines of, "You think you can dumb it down a bit?" But they're getting shot at over and over again. They're getting chased all over the place. Eventually they do get some shots off, this is one of them. Unfortunately, it looks a little different, but anyway.
I think that's when they get the torpedo.
No, torpedo comes after. So torpedo is right here. Actually, this is where the torpedo comes in, hits them, and then Yafid's trying to change some things. And at this point, he basically says, no, don't call off anything. The system's going to reboot, and then it'll be back up. And what's his name? Chief Engineer Lamar. He basically says, no, we gotta shut this down. Like, we're going to get blown up. Like, there's 300 people on this ship. We're going to get blown up. And then, sure enough, it reboots itself. And at this point, Lamar then calls that off. And everybody's happy. Even Dan. Dan's happy. Just so you know. Now, here's the problem I have. Until just now, I didn't realize that this girl that Lamar is dating is actually under his command. Does this not create a conflict?
Maybe there's like a level of separation. Like there's a lieutenant.
Well, let's also talk about Kelly and Ed. Like,
all right, let's not bother. Okay, anyway, let's move on.
We're not trying to go all HR on us, you know. Like
that was great. That was great.
I loved this scene. This scene was great, especially how Seth MacFarlane did it. I thought was really well done.
The cookie bouquet.
The cookie bouquet, yeah. So here's the cookie bouquet, and you see him come in, and he's like, "Wow, is that a cookie bouquet?" He's so excited about it, and she's like, "Yeah, you know, Cassius sent it over. You know, we're all broken up." He's like, "Really?" And she's like, "You could be a little bit more."
Oh no!
He's like, "Oh no!"
She's like, "You don't have to pretend."
Oh no, that sucks.
Yeah. Oh no.
He's like, "I'll just have a cookie to celebrate instead."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the best thing is, and he's chomping on this cookie. He's like, "This cookie's really good." And then Bortus and Talia come in, and basically, you know, they're like, "Oh, you know, the engineers want to do something, blah 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 blah. You know, actually retrofit it. It'll take 48 hours." And he's like, "Yeah, get them on it right away." And then Ed's like, "I really love these cookies." She's like, "Take it." He's like, "I can take this." And he gets all excited, and then he runs away with the
They
cookie.
can replicate anything they want anytime.
I know, but he's excited about this bouquet, man. He's like, I think it's also a victory for him.
They missed an opportunity to have him walk by Cassius in the
Yes,
hallway.
I agree.
Cookie bouquet.
That would have been
amazing,
but funny.
It's so cold, yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, or he just happens to see him like walk by like the school door entrance. You know,
yeah.
He's humming away and he's like chewing on his cookies, and Cassius is just like, "What the fuck?"
Or better yet, give them to the kids in the school classroom.
Yeah, there you go. Or yeah, drop them off at the school. I'm full, guys. You won't have the rest of these. But anyway, we see Talia, and she's talking to the guy who's I totally remember the name. But yeah, that guy. Anyway, so she's like, "Yeah, no," and he kind of like talks to her about how like he's attracted to women.
Well, she's
like,
in his
okay.
he's in her quarters, like
unannounced. Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, he's just in her quarters, and she's like, "This isn't really cool. Like, this isn't what you're supposed to be doing. Like, we don't do this," which he seems to not care about anyway. But he basically explains to her that he's he actually likes the women, and he's kind of interested in her, and she's like, "Oh, this is interesting," and that was kind of it for a minute.
I don't know if she thinks it's interesting. She thinks it's
she's kind of creeped out, I think, at the beginning.
Well, she's like, "This is a lot. This is a lot." Maybe
this is a lot to process.
In a sense, she thinks it's interesting, but she's not necessarily like go like right from.
He's still in her quarters.
Yeah,
which is kind of creepy, especially for somebody who she's never met. Like she's only known him for like an hour. But anyway, and then we go to Mercer and Kelly, and they're both in the mess hall. And I can't remember what this conversation is. I think this is
about their breakup.
Mostly the breakup.
She's complaining that he won't leave her alone.
Oh yeah, he keeps messaging her nonstop, like every hour on the hour.
Right.
And she's like reading some of the messages.
The world began the day we met.
I already heard that today, Dave.
Yeah, I know. Well,
but I do appreciate that.
Chronological.
But anyway, and then I like when Talia comes to sit down, and everybody's like, "Yeah, we're watching the Mercer and Kelly show."
The Ed and Kelly show, yeah.
Kelly show.
I like that everyone on the ship gossips about them. That's
cool. Oh yeah. Well, and that's something we didn't see a lot of on like TNG and all that. Like there wasn't much of the ways of gossip. Like there was some, but this show, it's like
not like this show. Not like
this show is like all the time.
Deep Space Nine.
Show is kind of like how it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Voyager a little bit, but not even as quite as authentic feeling, I guess.
Yeah. This one feels like these guys do work together, and they do make fun of people together and stuff like that. So, kind of neat. But anyway, so yeah, we're back in thing, and he's now staring out the ready room's window there. And at this point, Talia comes back in, and I guess she's thought about this a little bit more, and she's like, "Yeah, okay, well, you know what? Let's go for a walk." And he's like,
eventually, but she's like, "I don't even know you, and like, why would I have a relationship with you?" And but then eventually she decides, like she invites him to the simulator because
when it's right, it's right.
He explains that this is very faux pas. It's like on his world that this is not that, an all male species or a mostly all male.
Well,
species.
it's essentially a crime.
Yeah.
This is a crime, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I wonder if it works as a crime if he's attracted to people that aren't of his species. Well, I guess it would have to be because that's.
I think
really what
think that they would be more okay with a male Selayan than a woman Selayan. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
I think, but I don't know.
So they got some homophobia going on there too.
Heterophobia.
Heterophobia, maybe, yeah. But anyway. So she decides that, well, let's go for a walk kind of thing. So they end up going down towards the simulator. They get into the simulator and they're running Kelly's program, but it's now at night. And at this point, they're just kind of walking around. He's, talking about various things. I love this little interaction with the girl, though. She's like, "This is the dolly I got for Christmas." She says, "That is not my problem."
He's very Mocklin.
He's very Mocklin.
A sympathetic Mocklin.
Yeah, he's like, "That is not my problem." Like it's real or something.
And then she's just like, "Okay, bye."
Okay, bye. And then they keep walking down, and then eventually they see like a silhouette of two people dancing. And he's like,
now, anybody else get Home Alone vibes here?
Oh, totally. I'm like, this is just a standee spinning on like a train system or something. Yeah.
I wasn't really getting that, but I was like, Seth MacFarlane, man, he loves this like crooner era kind of stuff.
This is his
40s.
era, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you can't get enough of it.
30s and 40s are his jam for sure.
Yeah.
As well as the westerns. He loves the westerns too.
Right.
But yeah, so which I'm surprised we haven't got too many western episodes in this series.
Thank God we have.
Yeah. Because maybe he just knows that, in Star Trek that means bad. But anyway,
he'll do them. Don't worry.
Oh, I'm sure he'll do one eventually. Well, they did have that little tiny thing where they were like,
it was on the holodeck, right? Yeah,
they were on the holodeck doing the one thing there. Yeah, but
that wasn't funny, really.
No, not terribly funny. So I think he knew that.
Million Ways to Die in Space or something like it.
Well, he did that other one, right? The Million Ways to Die in the West or something.
Yeah.
Which actually wasn't too bad. I did watch it, but it's very Mel Brooks-ish. But anyway, so the two of them start dancing. She's trying to show him how to dance, and then she gets a call after they embrace in a quick kiss here. Well, actually, it wasn't that quick. Actually, it started getting a bit awkward, actually. But anyway, she gets called away by Kelly. Kelly wants her at her quarters for an immediate issue.
Look how far she's got to walk again.
Yeah, like this is here. Let's go back here for a second.
I also find it interesting that a Mocklin and a Selayan would choose to walk around the streets of Earth.
Well,
simulator.
This was her. Well, this was Talia's thing, right? Because she said, "Oh, Grayson showed
Kelly
me
does this. Kelly does
and
that.
she said she used to date a human, so she has.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she did say that. Yeah, that's why she knows how to dance. Yeah. So anyway, she's on her way, and at this point, we see him still practicing his dancing. Who is it? It's Kayla. Clyden. Sorry. Why did I say Kalon? Kalon is a species. Anyway, Kalen. These names. He's Bob from now on.
Jody, probably.
You know what? Probably the last day we do this thing, I'll get everybody right at once. And then
who's the captain of this ship again?
Who's this guy? Anyway, and funny enough, I'm the one that's supposed to be hosting this show.
Peter Griffin.
Peter Griffin.
Oh boy. But anyway, yeah. So we see Clyden.
Yes,
Clyden. Yep.
Clyden. There you go. All right. We see Clyden. He comes in. He starts basically yelling crap at him. This is why I don't like Clyden. Clyden's a dick.
I know what you are.
But yeah, because this is all real. This part is real. This happened. Mm-hmm. And then after that is when he made up the simulation. So at this point, they go back to Kelly's room, and here is the it's self-aware flower.
It's called a Catrudian. This one is named Grugan, and he's played by Bruce Willis.
Bruce
Willis is the voice of this guy.
But I didn't pick up on that at all. Like, I never watched Moonlighting. Is this like what David Addison sounded like? Was that what he was doing here, or?
I was pretty young when
I
that
never
shit
watched
was
Moonlighting. So
Neither did I.
first thing I saw him in was Die Hard. So, and he definitely has a more grittier tone when he's in Die Hard than he is in this. So I think he tried purposely to change his voice a little for this role. So, but either way, I enjoyed it.
It was familiar, but I didn't know who it was, and then
it almost sounds like somebody trying to be Bruce Willis more than anything, like somebody impersonating Bruce Willis in a way, and just not totally getting it.
I didn't know that till earlier this night, so I'm going to go back and listen now because now I'm curious as hell.
It isn't normal Bruce Willis, that's for sure, but it is definitely Bruce Willis. Like you can see certain tones, certain sounds make sense. But I like the fact that he's playing kind of like a hippie flower, basically. That's kind of what it is.
Cassius just wants to get back with you,
He just wants to get back with you. And the two of them are just like, Kelly's like, can you just get this out of my room? Like she's not interested in this at all. But I think it'd be fun to have this talking flower around, personally. But
Sure.
What does he eat? I guess that's really the key.
Plant food.
No, I would assume. But anyway, he's
more.
I like him. I liked it so much that I think this is the thumbnail for the video, if I remember. But anyway,
one of the better gags.
Yeah. So at this point, we see Talia running down. Well, she's walking down the thing, but she's clearly like had a day, basically. So she goes back to the simulator to meet back up with him, and he's nowhere to be found. So she uses her credentials to get playback on what was happening, and she sees him dancing, and then she sees this figure coming in. And then all of a sudden, he shoots him and obliterates him.
Right.
And this is alarming for her. So, she just kissed this guy a couple seconds ago, and a couple minutes ago.
Apparently dead.
Yeah.
She's also the cheapest security, so this is
this kind of down on her as well. This might be an issue as well.
Is this day never going to end?
Yeah. Yeah. She's having a bad day for sure. But anyway, they're watching the playback in the ready roomish thing. I like the fact that Isaac and Claire basically have nothing to say this entire episode for the most part. Isaac says a couple things, but we just had a big heavy episode with them, so
Isaac went around asking everybody about how to have the best coitus or something.
Yes, that's the joke in this part. He's like, I was asking everybody about sexual positions to provide, and the best thing is he says that in front of Claire.
Yeah, Claire and Isaac are. Sorry.
That's what Gordon says. He goes, yes, that's what every woman wants. Dutiful coitus.
Yeah.
But they also said that they're the most stable relationship on the ship.
Yeah, and he goes, it's pretty sad that the most stable relationship is the robot and the doctor. Yeah. But anyway, so basically Talia at this point is or Talia. Tala? Is it Tala really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. All right, Tala.
Okay, she's new, Jody. We'll forgive it.
Yeah, well, I'm just terrible. That's what it comes down to. But Tala basically says, this was on my watch, and this is weird. Something's going on, and I want to investigate this. And I think at this point,
she reveals that there was a romantic overture between her and Lokar, and
and the captain gets all mad, or
the captain and Bortus for that matter. They don't, but Bortus less so. But the captain is outraged by the.
He's like, this is an outrage. Blah 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 blah. So, anyway, basically, they decide they're gonna. She's like, well, I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna get this sorted. Blah,
no. She gets kicked. She gets kicked out of the room.
Oh, that's right, because she's arguing with him. Yes. Sorry, I watched this earlier.
A bunch of bigoted, closed-minded fools, and But
she really, which is something you wouldn't have saw her predecessor do at all. She would have just shut up, and she would have just shut up and said nothing. So again, part of her character, I guess. But she's told to go to Mercer's office and wait there. And then at this point, they kind of throw some stuff. Now they're back in there, and Mercer's like, I think we need somebody else to investigate this. And she's like, no, this is on my watch. I want to see this, blah, blah, blah. And that was the whole thing, but apparently
I'll do my job. She does.
No. We get that. We got to go back to that. That is the least shitting on her, but still shitting on her.
Everybody shits on this girl.
They totally missed the mark here. I think she's going to go into that office and get dressed down for what she said to the captain. But no, they're like, you should have told us about your relationship.
Yeah.
Bullshit. It's been going on for about 10 seconds.
Yeah, it literally, she did it. She went to Kelly's thing. Let's say that took 20 minutes. She comes back and he's gone. And that was the whole relationship time.
Also, these two are one to talk.
Yeah,
about their relationship interfering with the smooth running of the ship.
Right.
Yeah, like bring Rob Lowe back on this ship.
I don't think it's they say the ship, but I think that the bigger concern here is that the diplomatic relationships with the Mocklins, which they kind of talk about at the end of the episode too, and the fact that the Union needs the Mocklins against the Krill, and all that. But you know, this alliance with the Mocklins is problematic.
But here in this, they don't mention any of that.
They don't explain that to Tala. They're just like, you screwed up. You know,
you screwed up, and she's like, "Well, let me make it better."
And I don't think that they're right either, Kevin. I think that she says my personal business is none of your concern, and I don't think it was.
And she's absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that this was maybe eventually she should tell them, but I don't think at this point she was obligated to.
He's not even a crew member. I mean,
no.
These guys are all dating other crew members. They're dating subordinates, for crying out loud.
Yeah, cupcakes.
Chief engineer is like after cupcakes there. Ensign Cupcakes, and he's been with her for a while too. Like we saw that like many episodes.
I think even before he was the chief engineer. Actually,
before he was. So anyway, we see Bortus, and he's in, I guess, the armory at this point, and it looks like he's doing inventory or something. So he's doing that. She comes in, basically says, I'm gonna look into this, blah blah blah. And then she's like, "Can I talk to you for a second?" And then
nope.
He's like, "Nope."
It was a lot worse than that.
No. That was way worse than that.
Yeah. All right, go
ahead. He basically accuses her of murdering Lokar with her feminine wiles.
Yes.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yes. And it caused his death.
Right. He's kind of blaming. Yeah. Not kind of. He's blaming her. He's angry that. We'll find out that he already knew about this, like that Lokar was into women, but he was keeping it a secret. He was not doing the Clyden thing, right? Yeah. But he has a lot of emotions going on, and then eventually she says, "I don't know how you can call yourselves an advanced species," and then after what they did to your daughter, and he just loses it, right? He just
he's just gone.
I told you that's enough. I'm your superior officer. Get the hell out. Right.
He's 100% wrong.
Well,
but you can also understand his point. He's already been through all this shit. I can understand it. So, but he is wrong. Absolutely. He shouldn't be dressing her down saying that she got him killed. Like,
no, right. Absolutely not.
Bullshit.
But she, when she apologizes,
but you can sense there's still trauma there from obviously his daughter, who is now his son. It is that, I guess.
She apologizes later to make peace, and he does not.
Yeah,
and still acts like a baby. Like,
absolutely.
But I think as the Klingons of this show, I think it totally makes sense that the Mocklins do this, right? So
sure.
It kind of makes sense, but yeah. So anyway, we see Isaac and chief engineer there, Lamar. There you go, got it. Took me a second, but I got it. Anyway, the two of them are going through, I guess, the layers of the program to figure out where the corruption is, which clearly
at this point, as the audience, we already know it's Clyden, right? Or we think it's like Clyden.
Well, we know it's Clyden because we saw him there. So we're like, yeah, that big figure, it's got to be
Part of
Clyden.
me wonders if they hadn't showed where Clyden comes in and says, "I know what you are," if the episode works better or not, They
could have done that scene from behind. They
could have just showed the background of him so
that we don't know if it's Clyden or Bortus, maybe.
Or they cat or somebody
any Mocklin for that matter. Yeah. They could have just showed us enough features to show us a Mocklin, right?
I guess they could have had a little bit more of a mystery, but there is a mystery here, and I do appreciate that part of the episode is that there's a bit of a, I love me some Law and Order, and there's a little.
Oh, I know you love the Law and Order. But basically, they're trying to clear this up. And they eventually do clear it up, and the two of them are dumbfounded by what they see, which of course is Clyden. Clyden?
Yes.
Yeah, still Clyden.
Yes. All right, we're getting there. Anyway, we see him, and for some strange reason, his arm looks totally weird in this, and I don't know why. But anyway, it's like, does that not look weird to you?
Yeah, he's got a weird baby arm.
It looks like he's got a baby arm, like from like Deadpool.
Some people have baby arms, Jody.
Yeah, I guess. But anyway, he's got a hell of a head, though, that guy. But anyway, so we see Clyden with the phaser, which is interesting, and I like the fact that they show he's not in the same outfit, which is supposed to, I guess, kind of subliminally tell us that it isn't actually Clyden that this happened. Like, Clyden didn't do this. But anyway. But we did see him in that outfit earlier. So,
like, we find out that Clyden didn't murder him, but Clyden also doesn't, after we think he's been murdered, Clyden doesn't like come forward and say, well, hey, guess what? I talked to him a few minutes before.
Oh no, there's none of that. Yeah.
So
exactly.
he technically, did try to like cover up some aspect of this.
Yeah, and we see Clyden, and he's now in the brig. And they're basically, Mercer's like, kind of giving him a bit of a grill, like, what's going on here, kind of thing. And he's like, I did not kill him, blah blah blah.
I was only going to expose him for what.
Yeah, I was just going to expose him for what he is, blah blah blah. Because Clyden is a dick. He is a dick. He could be funny, but he's a dick. And we see Bortus also viewing this, and he's clearly not happy. But Bortus is never really happy, so I guess that makes sense. But the absolute sinister that they get Clyden to do here is like everything about his facial expressions and everything. He's angry and he's like vengeful and all this. It's just like you believe that it could have actually been him, even though we know it really wasn't him, because then they would have to kill him off the show or something. But
which
anyway,
I think would have been a bold move.
That would have been a bold move that it actually was him. That would have been interesting.
Especially because Kelly mentions he does have a prior history of violence on the ship.
True.
Well, yeah, and they're going through his history, and it's like, yeah, no, this guy actually could completely fit the profile of a killer.
And you just kind of see it with Bortus. He's like, yeah, this is great.
This probably is true. Yeah. But I like how Clyden is played, though, because even though I don't like him, I still think he's a good character being played. Like the guy who plays him does a really good job of showing emotion.
Yeah.
I love also right here. He's like, can I talk to Clyden alone for a second? And then he just walks over. Did you kill him?
Did you kill him? No, I didn't kill him.
I believe you.
I believe you. And then that's it. Yeah. They get back to the old.
What do you want me to tell Topa?
Ways.
Tell him I love him. That's it.
Tell Topa I love him. Yeah. So anyway, but then we go back to the mess hall where these three are talking. I can't even remember what this conversation is about.
This was the best scene ever. Can I read it to you? Because the script goes like this. So with Tala, I mean, this has to be the most insane thing that's ever happened on this ship.
Yeah.
John Lamar. One time, I almost died because I humped a statue. Gordon, Isaac once cut up my leg off. John, and the captain and commander, they got put in a zoo. Bortus almost crashed the ship because of porn.
Because of porn. Yeah, now I remember this. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Yeah, that's some good writing right there. Something we would never see in Star Trek, but
and then she just responds, "I see."
Yeah. She's like, "What did I just sign up for? I've only been here for like 3 episodes, and oh my god, these guys are crazy." But yeah, so anyway, she goes back. She goes back to see Bortus, and she's talking to him. Again, I don't remember this conversation either.
She's not really.
I think it's more of the same.
She's apologizing just because he outranks her, and she kind of like went insubordinate on him, but not because.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
not because she regrets what she said or that she didn't believe.
No, she just felt it wasn't the right.
And then he explains their relationship and how he found out.
Oh, that's
right.
And
and that he didn't expose Lokar because he still loved him and didn't want to ruin his life.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
which gives us the backstory as to why the two of them broke up, because I guess he was found with another girl, but a girl, I guess would make more sense. I can't remember.
It also shows the difference between Clyden and Bortus and how they handle.
They are definitely different people for sure.
Yeah,
like they don't even have the same values from what you can tell, right? Like one's very, very traditional, and the other one's kind of like he can kind of put up with some change.
Well, I think the fact that Bortus even joined the the Union military or whatever, is indicates that he's different than most Moclans, right?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I am wrong. Never mind. Okay. I thought she had the same ranking insignia that he did, but he doesn't. No, he's got the extra little middles.
Yeah, lieutenant commander.
Yeah. No, I thought she had the two thick and the one thin on hers, but she doesn't. But anyway, yeah. So that's how it is. So anyway, they go back to the simulator to look at this this information, and at this point. Yeah, see, I'm drawing a blank again. I don't remember this. I got to start making notes, guys. Like I'm terrible.
Well, I think this is where they're kind of saying, I don't think he's actually dead. I think that this might have been fabricated. I think this is where they piece together that part.
Oh, that's right. She said, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, she figures out that he's still probably alive and he's on the ship still. And because he's a master engineer, he's figured out how to kind of fake his own death, I guess.
That was also part of the conversation with Lamar and Malloy.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
The fact that Clyden's engineering expertise is not really up to do this. Like he's not that.
Clyden can't do this. Yeah, it's got to be something.
And they talk about how breaking the encryption was too easy. There was more that could have been done.
Yeah, like they wanted it to be found.
They wanted it to be found. Yeah.
Yeah. So they basically come to the conclusion that they need to search the ship, essentially. And this is where she gets all of her people in. I do like the fact that they have like aliens we haven't even seen before, running around, looking at stuff.
I was actually, when they were talking about the total complement of the crew, I didn't know it was that small.
300?
300?
Yeah.
I think they established that in the first episode.
They may have, and
it's twice the amount that Voyager has.
Well, not only that, but half of Voyager's crew died, and they ended up taking on these assholes.
Right.
But also, remember, this ship is 40% simulator. It doesn't need that many people.
That's right. Yeah, come to think of it. Yeah.
And everyone on the ship is on drugs.
Everybody on this ship is on drugs or drinking heavily. But anyway, so we see the search start to happen. They're going through all the different sets, looking at the cargo hold and stuff. This is an alien we haven't seen yet.
I didn't like the search.
You didn't like the search?
It didn't seem systematic enough. They're walking.
No, it just looked like they're all just they're kind of looking where they want.
We got a bunch of extras. We got a bunch of red shirts. Let's go.
We got these tunnels he's checking out. And then she walks into the shuttle bay there. And then she sees the shuttle and she's like, oh, I'm going to walk into the shuttle and have a look around. She looks around and then eventually she hears something. It turns out it's him and he's cloaked. So she's like, yeah, no, like we thought you were dead, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's going on? And he's like, I don't want to be seen. She's like, well, what's your play here? Are you planning on like taking off or something? And he's like, like, you don't even get really a real answer to him. I guess this is just kind of like a panic thing for him. But he knows that if he goes back to Moclus, then he's going to be facing some very, very harsh laws.
This is another one. He asks her to hide him, to not. To just let Clyden go to jail. She can't do it. Yeah. And then he turns and tells her that she's killing him. Like she's doing this.
Everybody's shitting on her.
You're right.
Yeah. She's
betrayed him. Yeah.
They should have called this episode "Everybody Hates Tala."
Yeah. Well, I want to really call out his performance here. It's really strong.
Yeah, especially the crying. I thought the crying
couple tears coming down, and it's a really strong scene. I think that the dilemma that she's put in here, especially she told Ed and Kelly, I can be objective. Don't take me off this case. I can do this. I can get to the bottom of this, and she does the right thing here by clearing.
She does the right thing, but she also sentences a man to.
She condemns him here, but she also can't let Clyden go down for murder he didn't commit,
even though Klein's is dead.
So there's a lot This is a tough
Well,
choice.
she has to be true to her sense of justice, not.
Yeah. So her emotion doesn't take play here. She goes by the book the way she should, which makes sense. But obviously she seems a little heartbroken about it. But what can you do, kind of thing. So
kind of.
Well, she does in a way. But anyway, then we see basically the two of them walk off, and then at this point we see Kelly and Ed in the mess hall again, doing what they always do, which is drink a lot. And then at this point, Cassius shows up. And Ed's like, yeah, I think I probably should go.
Look at that shirt. Go back.
Sorry.
This is where he should have still had that basket of cookies and then just picked it up off the table and walked
He's like, at this point, like, there's only like 4 left, and like everything's like falling over.
You know what? Though this is I thought
take my cookies and I'm gonna go.
Like
I thought that their choice of a table is very interesting. They always sit the same place, right? But they see, from their perspective, they see everybody coming in.
Yeah. Well, they are command, right? So,
and his shirt again, terrible. If this didn't reinforce the breakup, I don't know what will.
I like this shirt.
It's uncomfortable. He looks like he can't even move his arms.
You know what? It looks like the Batman suit where you can't turn your neck.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
He's like, I can't move my neck. But anyway, so he comes up to talk to Kelly. He basically says, "Oh, by the way, I got another job and I'm leaving the ship." And she's like, basically,
because of you. Because of you.
She's like, because of you, basically. And she's like, yeah, okay, well, I guess that is what it is. That's great. You got another job. That's awesome. And the two of them kind of shake. And at this point, he takes off. And then we go back to Tala.
Yep.
I corrected myself. Tala, where she's kind of gazing out at the outside, and this is where we see Clyden come in. And Clyden's like, "I just want to thank you for doing the job," or whatever. And she finally
let somebody have it.
Yeah, she finally got to shit on somebody, and she shit on him, and he's well deserved of that.
Well, he says, "I owe you a debt." She's like, "You want to pay me back? Never talk to me."
Yeah, next time you see me, walk the other way. Yeah, basically, go fuck yourself. Just a different way of saying it, but yeah, that's basically what happened. She's like, yeah, and she's very emotional in this scene.
Yeah, strong scene for her.
Yeah,
like
very good scene for her. Yeah, so definitely a top player on the show. Anyway, and then Clyden's just like he's kind of dumbfounded.
He doesn't even say anything. He just walks away. Yeah.
You get the impression he's a bit perplexed to her reaction, but at this point he's just like, yeah, okay, and he takes off, and then we see her kind of crawling, doing the ugly cry.
This is good too, though. This scene was good too.
Yeah, I don't remember the scene actually. This is Bortus in their.
Nothing said. It just
nothing said. He just kind of walks in, and Bortus just kind of looks at him and then turns back around again. Right. Yeah. He doesn't say anything. They just stare at each other, and then at that point,
so there was 3 scenes in this episode of them of Lokar staring out the window, Tala staring out the window, and now Bortus staring out the window. Just. Lost in their own thoughts and things. Contemplate. But it was really well done. This whole ending, I think.
Yeah. Then we get the ending, which is essentially we get to see what's his name? Lokar. There we go. I won't need to care about him come 10 seconds from now. But anyway, Lokar is walking in. He's in cuffs. And we see the judge, and the judge just slams down that super heavy cube thing. And then we go back to Tala. And she's just looking out, and she walks away, and that's the end of the episode. So, clearly this has affected her quite harshly. But anyway, what are our thoughts on this, guys? What do we think? Do we still love it like we did at the beginning?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good. But you know what I love even more than that, guys? There's one thing that I look forward to every Monday night. Do you know what that is?
Fun facts that help.
Ooh, let's try that again, but this time we're going to put the graphic up. All
right,
facts that okay, hold on. I don't have the graphic yet.
Jody, get the graphic for fun.
Ooh, look at this. Okay.
Wow, that was a weird echo there. I think we're going to have to go back to me singing it. I don't think you made the cut. But anyway, we'll let Adam decide.
I like them all.
I will be silent.
All right,
it does not concern me.
Let's get going here. All right, so when Lokar and Tala walk into the simulator, the movie playing is Anchors Away, a 1945 movie starring Gene Kelly and Katherine Grayson. The
Catherine
last
Grayson.
names make up the character name of the Orville's first officer, Commander Kelly Grayson.
Yeah, there you go.
Tala instructs the simulator to play back time index 1701.7. This is a nod to the Star Trek Enterprise number 1701, which there were 7
I didn't notice that. That's cool.
ships shown in the series.
Nice.
Yep. So I mean, everybody, we've talked about Seth MacFarlane wanting to do his own show, but he still throws a lot of nods at.
Well, he wanted to do a Star Trek series, and they said no because he wanted to add humor. Funny enough, then we get Lower Decks later. But it's imagine if he did a Lower Decks. That would be interesting.
The opening scenes again takes place on the same set where Neil Patrick Harris, playing Barney Stinson, sang "Nothing Suits Me Like a Suit" in Girls versus Suits and from 2010. In fact, the opening shot pans from virtually the same camera perspective as the finale of the Barney's musical number. So they use it.
Is that like How I Met Your Mother? Is that what that?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Tala's role in the whodunit plot was originally written for Alara Katan. The mirror is the series shifted from the original Star Trek 1966, when series regular Grace Lee Whitney played Ensign Yeoman Janice Rand, quit the show halfway through the season. 3 remaining Rand related scripts were written for interchangeable for the Yeoman of the Week, essentially. When these scripts ran out, the Yeoman stock character just went away.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think like Mirror Mirror might be one of those because there's that
Probably, yeah.
one Yeoman.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be. I don't think that Alara would have been able to do it as well.
No, it would have been very different.
All right. Ren T. Brown played the Klingon Cole. Oh my gosh, I'll start that again. Ren T. Brown played the Klingon Kolar in Prophecy. He was the captain of the Moclan ship.
Yeah, he had a very familiar voice, so I was.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense.
More.
This is the second. Again, Dave, you mentioned Seth MacFarlane's love for MGM movies and musicals. This is the second Gene Kelly film reference in the show. The first, Singing in the Rain, a happy refrain a few weeks ago, and now this is Anchors Away in 1945. So we've seen lots of musicals.
And the King and I is not a musical, right?
It is.
It is a musical. So the third one this season, then.
Yeah.
Well, MacFarlane loves musicals too, so everything about this show kind of screams his own dream.
This is his own little pet project, his own
his own little thing he gets to do, and we get to enjoy it.
It's going to be interesting to see whether he has the same enthusiasm in the next season that was released, because I feel like it sort of went away a little bit, but hopefully it comes back.
What do you mean in season 3?
Well,
yes.
Season 3 is a big arc, so it was a lot more serious.
Yeah. Bruce Willis, of course, was the voice of the Talking Plant, and I'll leave it there for the fun facts this week.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you. And,
fun facts. With Adam.
I discovered a detail.
Oh,
here.
let's hear the detail that has been discovered by Dave.
So this guy who plays Lokar, his name is Kevin Daniels, and apparently he'd been friends with Peter Macon and Jay Lee, who played Bortus and John Lamar, respectively, for many years, and they love to go out to karaoke together.
Oh, I have
and
sad
they seem like
facts.
that would be a fun time.
Sorry, I had the wrong ticker on there. I had sad facts. That wasn't a sad fact.
No. But yeah, I was kind of looking up the guy who played Lokar here, this Kevin Daniels, and he's never been in anything super big. I'm not a huge, I used to like Frasier, but apparently he plays a character named Tiny in Frasier. If anyone's
okay, yeah, I know who Tiny is.
But yeah, he's really strong in this episode. I think he's one of the better guest stars I've seen come through.
Alrighty. Sorry, guys. I don't have
Time
this.
for ratings.
It's time for ratings.
Time for ratings.
All right. So, shall we do that, gentlemen?
Shall we?
All right. Let's do it. Okay. So, Deflectors. Let's start with Adam.
I'm going to give this a 9 this week.
9. 9. All right. And Dave.
9.5. I'm only deducting the half because I feel like the episode could have been like script wise could have been a little tighter. I think that they could have put a little bit more into the Tala and Lokar relationship before he's killed or whatever.
Like you wanted to see more of their interactions before he got killed.
Like I felt like they had to rush things because they only have like the 40 something minutes, and so like it almost like could have been a two-parter. I think this episode, but yeah, pretty strong.
But they could have, like, honestly, that first opening sequence with Cassius and Kelly could have been it. They could have just ended that there.
Yeah. And so I think that they spend too much time on the B story with Kelly and Cassius.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the episode could have been a little better, but not much.
All right, Kevin.
That's a 10. I love
10.
it. It's good.
All right.
All the way through.
10 for Kevin, which I think is one of 2 10s that he's given out this year.
And Dave,
3. You've had 3, Kevin.
Coming back to what you said about, Orville naysayers, I guess. Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. There's some great episodes in this show that and
there's
really
well acted. There's stinkers too.
Sure, there's stinkers and everything though. Like
I don't know. There's always. Sorry, let Jody do his rating, and then I'll respond.
9. I'm gonna give it a 9.
9. So averaging 9.4.
9.4 is our average, gentlemen, and IMDb actually has this one lower than last week's at 7.6. I wonder why that is.
That's our highest rating so far of any episode.
Is that our highest rating?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in America this wouldn't have played as well as we might have enjoyed.
Well, maybe, yeah. But anyway, combined ratings together is 8.5, which is so. This is now the record. This is now the record episode, I guess, of the series for us so far, the highest rated. Mm-hmm. But past that, what were you going to say, Dave?
Well, I just want to say about like I don't know, like there within the Live Long and podcast community, there's just a few of us, and everyone can like and not like what they want to, whatever. But there's always like this kind of thing about like, you're doing the Orville, Seth MacFarlane, what a creep, And I'm just like, what? Like, why? What's the problem with this guy? And they're like, I don't know. I have nothing specific. I just suspect he's a bad guy. Or I don't know. Like, there's always, I'm like, did you watch the show? Do you, like, if you're not willing to give it a chance, then I can't really accept the critiques as anything more than a form of prejudice, really. Yeah. And so it's like, you like judge it for what it is. Like, this was a super strong episode. I would hold this up to almost any Star Trek episode that deals with morality issues and things like that. And it's a great hour of television. So hats off to him, and there's even more good stuff to come. So looking forward to reviewing all that with you guys.
Yeah, that was very well said. I think you hit the nail right on the head there, Dave. I you know what? And we had the same problem with various other shows of a certain individual who happens to be on the panel tonight with a glorious mustache, might I add, who's currently not paying attention. But anyway, with Enterprise, he hated Enterprise. He was completely against it. But the nice thing about Kevin is Kevin's open to trying things, and that's what he did. So it turns out now he's okay with Enterprise, right?
And parts of Enterprise were very painful, but generally,
yes.
Enterprise has a lot of stinkers for sure, but it's got some dynamite episodes too.
Every series does.
I always come back to that Western episode for some reason.
Oh, the Western episode is terrible. It's so bad.
You know what? I went completely the other way. It's episodes I liked,
for sure. But
there's some really good episodes though. I like Shuttle Pod 1. I think is probably my favorite episode.
But when I think of episodes I don't like, that Western one really comes to mind.
Oh yeah, and
that's
a bad
one
episode.
of the earlier ones, like the Terra Firma one or whatever.
Yeah. The Western one. Where the fuck did the horses come from?
No idea. They must have brought them with them. I don't know.
I'm still trying to figure out the harmonicas, but
that's another good question.
There was a meme that came up the other day, and they said, "Hey, Scott Bakula, we're doing a Western episode." He's like, "Find me the biggest goddamn hat you could find."
Big hat. Yeah, it clearly wasn't for him, but they put it on. But you know what, guys? We have more on in store. So, for instance, next week we're going to be doing, in this case, I believe it's a 2-parter. We're going to be covering both of them at the same time, which is Identity, parts 1 and 2. Identity is about when Isaac shuts down, the crew head to his home planet to fix him, to uncover a shocking secret that was better off hidden. So with this is one of the, I really like this two-parter. I think when it comes to two-parters, especially in these type of shows, I think a lot of the time they get very stretched out and boring. But I remember this two-parter being fantastic, just like nonstop the whole time, which is great. So hopefully we will find that as well.
Yeah, I think like when and I'll say this in the next podcast, but I think when this two-parter came out with Isaac and everything that we're about to review next, I was like that was when I was like, this show, like, you know, really...
yeah, this gets into this is like Wolf 359 type
right.
stuff. Like this is the turning point of the show in my opinion.
My opinion
like,
of the show went way up.
Yeah.
As much as I liked it, even up to this point, but it was kind of more of a comedy. Sometimes
it was more
serious,
fun. Yeah, it was more fun.
But then they're like, no, we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go
yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, this two-parter is very powerful, and that's why I didn't want to do them separately. I figured we better do the whole thing at once. So
sure.
But you know what? Just because we are watching the Orville doesn't mean there isn't people watching other things on this channel, such as, of course, Star Trek: The Next Generation with Dave.
Yeah, well, we're almost done season 1, and we're taking a break. So we have one. We just on Sunday, I was on with all of you guys. No, not Adam. He wasn't there.
Yeah, it was me and Devin, and
we just covered Conspiracy.
Love that episode. So much fun. I love.
We only
that
have one left to kind of finish out season 1, and that is the Neutral Zone.
Oh yes,
which we'll fit that in somewhere.
what a terrible season ender. It's such a terrible episode.
We'll tune into that.
But I do like the last line by the
Romulans.
By the Romulans, though.
Yeah, like anyway, and so of course we're in the thick now of Lower Decks season 5. Just did 2 episodes on Thursday, and we will be back again this Thursday night, Halloween, to talk about episode 3. So look out for that. I think we're gonna be a little late that night, so Davin can do the Halloween trick-or-treating with his kids.
Of course. Yeah, that's important.
And so I think, and then there's also some debate nines and trivia's coming up. Enterprise themed, Jody, if you didn't know.
Yes. Adam and I are going to be a team, I believe. And so is you and Kevin.
We're called Team Millard.
Lard.
Made lard. We made so much lard.
I thought it was Mad Lard, but I could be wrong. So I think
we'll see how the day goes. We don't know.
Could go anywhere.
We might be mad. We might make lard.
Unfortunately, Adam, these guys are going to have a loss because we're going to be there. But
we workshopped the team name Team Milder, but it wasn't as good.
Milder. Okay. Yeah. All right. Anyway, anything else anybody wants to say about this before we're done? Because
I think we've said
Dave needs to go to bed.
I just like when Adam was like, that was the best joke, Dave. And I'm
like, you know what? Adam's a pretty free laughing guy, but you know, he was dead still on that one, Dave. I'm pretty sure that one didn't land.
I was in my mind, Jody, making up our name.
Oh, were you? Okay, what did you come up with?
I don't have one yet.
How about Jodem?
No.
Woodson.
I have to be first.
Oh my god!
It doesn't matter.
Simp Ward.
No. Woodson.
Look, none of us are good at this.
We're Team Woodson.
Okay.
Woodson. Right. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We don't even need a team name. That's how good we are.
We're going to be so good.
We're just going to be
good. What will you put on the back of your uniform?
I don't know. Are you guys going to have uniforms? Because it wouldn't shock me. Anyway,
we haven't talked about it yet.
We haven't talked about it yet. Anyway, gentlemen,
sure, we are going to have uniforms.
Yeah, now we do. Now we will.
Now you will. If you guys show up in uniforms, I'm gonna tell them to deduct a point.
You can forfit on.
We're gonna wear red, Jody. We'll wear.
Are we gonna wear red? Okay, we'll wear red. All right. Yeah. So anyway, that's it, gentlemen. Unless anybody has anything else to say, I think we're done.
Nope.
That's it. Yeah.
We're it. All right. Well, thanks for being with us, and make sure you click subscribe and alert and whatever the hell else there is. I don't know.
All the buttons.
All these. Just hit them all. It doesn't matter which one, except for the one that's like the down one.
Not that one.
No, don't hit that one. Hit the other one. But all the rest of them, you hit them all just randomly. Doesn't matter. All right. Anyway, Have a good night and live long and podcast, gentlemen. All right.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.